Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. The Zords from Power Rangers Turbo are extremely unique. Firstly, because they were introduced in a movie rather than on the show, and secondly, because, well, they are cars. When combined, they of course form the Turbo Megazord. And at the time, Zordon himself claimed that the Turbo Megazord was the most powerful Megazord to ever exist, meaning that it was more powerful than the Mighty Morphin Megazords and the Zeo Megazords. So in today's video, we will be covering the individual Turbo Zords and their combined forms. Let's get into it. Let's start from the beginning. On the planet Liaria, a wizard named Lerigot is being hunted down by Divatox, an intergalactic space pirate who is seeking his golden key to traverse an interdimensional gateway and enter into matrimony with Malagor, an imprisoned demon who promises her great riches and power. Lerigot escapes Divatox's forces and travels to Earth in search of Zordon and his friend Alpha 5, but arrives in Africa by accident. Weakened by the sun's ultraviolet rays, Lerigot meets a pack of chimpanzees and wanders off with them. Meanwhile, Divatox heads for Earth in pursuit. Back in Angel Grove, the Ranger team are preparing for a charity martial arts competition when Rocky DeSantos injures his back. This leads to him leaving the Ranger team. A young boy and supporter of Rocky overhears the Rangers talking about their duties and witnesses them teleport whilst visiting Rocky at the hospital. Now, remember, at this point, the Rangers still have access to the Zeo powers, but as they are apparently not strong enough to face this new threat of Divatox and Malagor, Zordon and Alpha create new powers for the Rangers to defeat their new enemies. With these new turbo powers and new vehicular Turbo Zords, the Rangers travel across the desert to a ship called the Ghost Galleon. They are joined by Justin, who has received Rocky's Blue Ranger powers while Rocky is recovering in the hospital. Now, with that brief backstory of how the Rangers received the new Zords, let's take a look at them individually. We have the Red Lightning Turbo Zord. This is driven and piloted by Tommy Oliver, the Red Turbo Ranger. It's later piloted by TJ Johnson. It forms the head and upper torso of the Turbo Megazord. Its design is very clearly inspired by a classic sports race car. We then have the Mountain Blaster Turbo Zord. It's a blue 4x4 truck that is driven by Justin Stewart. When the Zords combine to form the Megazord, it forms the lower torso and upper legs. There is the Desert Thunder Turbo Zord, clearly a van with some upgrades. This Zord is piloted by Adam Park and later by Carlos Valerte. It forms the right lower leg of the Turbo Megazord. The Dune Star Turbo Zord is the yellow SUV and is piloted by Tanya Sloan and eventually by Ashley Hammond. It makes up the left lower leg of the Megazord. Finally then, we have the Wind Chaser Turbo Zord, piloted by Catherine Hillard and later by Cassie Chan. The design is based on a sports car. It forms the arms of the Turbo Megazord. It can even split itself in half when needed, which is a useful after effect of how it changes to form the Megazord. So during the Turbo movie and the Megazord's first appearance, it took on the mighty Malagor. The battle was relatively short and ended with Malagor's destruction after being hit with the Turbo Megazord Saber and forced into the waters around the island, destroying him completely. A bit of an anticlimactic ending for an enemy of such great power. But don't worry, you'll forget about him and he can basically just return in a later season, going by the name Dark Spectre. Anyway, as for the Turbo series itself, after returning to Earth, the Turbo Megazord continued to battle the various monsters dispatched by Divatox. At one point, the Turbo Megazord was stolen by Divatox's brother, General Havoc, and was turned evil, thanks to a giant battery pack attached to its waist, powered by the Phantom Ranger's Power Ruby. The Phantom gave the Turbo Rangers the Rescue Megazord, even in the odds. As a result, the evil Turbo Megazord was sent out to battle the Rescue Megazord, piloted by Crosspatch and Havoc's robotic foot soldiers. However, the Red Ranger was able to locate the Ruby, defeat Crosspatch, fry the battery pack, and return the Megazord to the side of good. After the self-destruction of the Rescue Megazord in an attempt to take out the extremely powerful Goyle, the Rangers attempted to destroy Goyle with the Turbo Megazord Spinout, which, interestingly, is the first named finisher a Megazord has ever had. But Goyle was seemingly unaffected by the attack. He then launched a series of energy blasts at the Turbo Megazord, wrecking it completely. Before I give you guys one last super interesting fact about the Turbo Megazord, I want to tell you about today's sponsor. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for you to build your brand and grow your business online. It can be used to create stunning websites and personalize it for your own needs. Engage with your audience, sell your products, your content, or even your time. The possibilities are limited only by your imagination. It's so easy to use. You can use the custom templates to get started with your site and customize it then to fit your requirements. You can even browse different categories to find the ideal starting point. If you're like me and you're a video content creator, it's an easy way to host content. You can embed videos from third-party hosts directly to your site, or you can upload your video library to Squarespace and even sell access to your content. Finally, and this one is always very important to me, the analytics tools are priceless. Being able to learn where your site visits and sales are coming from and analyze which channels are most effective. Improve your website and build a marketing strategy based on your top keywords or most popular products and content. So valuable and again, so easy to use. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/the Sixth Ranger for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain using the code the Sixth Ranger. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. One last thing that I discovered when doing the research for this video, which I want to share with you guys, is about the layout of the cockpits. The Turbo Zords and Megazord cockpits looked and worked completely differently in the series than in the movie. In the movie, the Zords cockpits were boarded in their normal car forms and had side doors, while in the series, the Rangers would be situated in their turbo cars. While the cockpit transfer process was not shown on screen in the film, which clearly showed that the Megazord cockpit was in the head, the series showed that the Zords began to dock together. The turbo cars would be unclamped and slide back. The Rangers were then shown arriving in the cockpit. This would require the cockpit be somewhere within the Mountain Blaster, as Red Lightning did not arrive to complete the formation until later. Though this is further contradicted as the Chromites are seen climbing into the Turbo Megazord's head before attacking the cockpit in the episode, The Darkest Day. What do you guys think about this? A creator's oversight, or does the Megazord have the ability to house a cockpit differently from time to time? Let me know what you think. I know what I think. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on these Zords and the Megazord in the comments down below. If I continue with this Zord series in order, then we of course have the In-Space Zord next, which is again very unique as the individual Rangers didn't really have their own Zords. But we'll get to that when the time comes. I'm hoping you guys are looking forward to it. That's it from me today, my friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. May the power protect you, and I will see you next time on the Sixth Ranger.